At this time, I will call to order the Park and Recreation Committee Commission meeting with the City of Apache Junction. Would you please stay at 7 p.m. or 6:02 p.m. on October 4th. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There I am, horsing around. Could we have roll call, please?
Okay, Vice Chair Heather Moeller.
Here.
Commissioner D.L. Kine. Here. Commissioner Cheryl Bigelow.
Here.
Commissioner Judy Bory.
Here.
Commissioner Terrell Moore.
Here.
Chairman Frank Shanebeck.
Here. Thank you. The Commission may at this time take single action on any or all items listed as consent agenda items. These include acceptance of agenda and acceptance of minutes. Any member of the Commission may remove any item from the consent agenda for discussion and cause a separate vote on the matter later in the agenda. May I have a motion in this direction?
I move that the Parks and Recreation Commission accept the agenda as presented and approve the minutes from the September 6, 2023 regular meeting.
Thank you. A second?
I second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Terrell Moore.
Yes.
Vice Chair Heather Moeller.
Yes.
Commissioner D.L. Kine.
Yes.
Commissioner Cheryl Bigelow.
Yes.
Commissioner Judy Bory.
Yes.
Chairman Frank Shanebeck.
Yes. All right. At this time, we're going to see what everybody's been up to. Looking for volunteers to start, maybe over at this end. Judy?
Well, I've been flying back and forth out to Portland, so haven't been able to attend any activities this past month. So hopefully I get caught up here with Halloween.
I'm glad you had safe travels and came back to us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
We had about a 4-hour delay
Wow.
getting into Portland. Engine trouble with the plane, so they finally brought in another plane, and off we took off. So just thankful we had another plane.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Kylie?
DL.
Yes?
Yes. So I have been struggling with bronchitis, but I'm starting to feel better. We did get some better weather, and I did go to Flatiron Park, and it's just nice to have a little bit better weather. I can't wait to have more picnics, because sometimes it's just nice to even grab food and just get out and get some sun. So I can't wait. And then I know I'm looking forward to the rodeo grounds on Friday, and I know that's like a little precursor, but hopefully we're all going to be there.
Yes.
I hope to see everyone there too.
Oh, me. Another month at the senior center.
Oh, wow. You are dedicated.
Yes.
You're quite
Well,
the,
I'll tell you, they just have like awesome programs. I mean, Jody and JJ, they just run an awesome activities over there.
very good.
I should have brought my wreath in that we made.
There you go. Unfortunately, I didn't have the time to get out as it's been a busy month. But I will say, with the holidays coming up, I'm very excited to see what's coming up. And then also, just as a throwing it out there, I was at my other job, and I had a couple individuals ask me, because I talk about Parks and Recs a lot, if I knew a certain individual over at the MGC, and then they just gave so much praise about it, and I told them, I was like, you know what, I'm going to talk about it tonight.
Right.
So again, Liz, you do an amazing job, as individuals from my job are starting to talk about it, and I'm always encouraged for people to go to the MGC.
Thank you.
I definitely can't take any credit one little bit for the MGC, but thank you. I will pass that on.
I was a slacker. I was pretty much sick for the whole month.
Oh,
Well, it must have been a month because I wasn't doing much either this month.
And you know,
Or-
I feel like everybody needs to understand that that is there for things you guys want to share. So don't feel like every person has to
It's just historically been on there. Don't feel like you all have to share. Like you guys do plenty. Coming here every single month is really important. Jamie will be giving you plenty of other pressure whenever she does her spiel.
Decided.
But please don't feel like you have to say that you did something in the month.
No, I think everybody pretty
FYI.
much, likes
It's
to
our homework.
get something, and
Right.
we try, keeping up with Jamie's Mission Impossible anyhow, but we all like to pitch in whenever we can. But it was a month, it seems, when we had transition from hot weather to cool weather, and
yeah,
things
agree.
happen. But now that we're here to cool weather, I think we're all revving up and looking for the future, because we've got a lot of exciting things coming up.
'Cause it's October.
All right, excuse me. Liz, you're up, presentation and discussion on projects and opportunities in the parks and other service areas.
Great, thank you, Chairman Schoenbeck. So a couple of interesting new news. So we did hire our park superintendent. I think as I shared before, we did an internal recruitment. And so Dave Butler, who you've met before when he came and presented on the South Parks team, he moved into the park superintendent position and went through an interview process with myself and Jamie and some outside Parks and Rec directors. So really a good opportunity to get their feedback as well. And so he starts officially on Tuesday. He's off on Monday, actually. But we've definitely been, working hard to look and see what that looks like. And we'll be taking this opportunity once we have this role filled. So again, Nick's role, we've been without a park superintendent for about 3 years now. And so we're super excited to get that role filled. And we'll be looking at organization structure, particularly in the Parks Division, but for the whole department. And we'll talk about that a little bit more when we talk about the rodeo grounds. But this will kind of kick off looking at our structure and seeing what other positions as we're growing and as we will be growing, how that will be looking. So we're excited. We'll be probably bringing him to one of the next, either the November or the December meeting, and he can kind of share with you a little bit of his vision for the division, and then he'll probably be more of a regular on and off here at the commission meetings to give some of the reports. The other item I wanted to share, so we just now are starting major overseeding timeframe, and we just like to remind everybody about that. Riley puts out all of our on-site messaging with signage and all of that, as well as posting and letting the public know on social media. But a couple of things just so that you know what we're doing this year. So Prospector Park ball fields, we have not been doing the softball or the soccer fields for a couple of years now. Saving water is the main reason. We are on a water, our water out there is regulated because of where it's at. So we only do the softball fields. So those are down right now. And they will be down through the month of October. And during that time, we will be adding the shielded lighting on fields 1 and 2. So that's happening simultaneously. We will also be overseeding the library, City Hall Complex Park, or City Complex Park and Veterans Park. Again, we see those as very visible in the downtown area, the City Hall campuses. We want people to see how beautiful those facilities are, and that is definitely a landscape decision there. So those are all getting overseeded. You really can't close them. They'll be available. We've got signage up letting people know to please stay off the grass. And then Little League Complex is getting overseeded during the same time. And Superstition Shadows is already started. Superstition Shadows Ballpark. So those 3 ball fields all get overseeded at this time. Flatiron, we will be overseeding. We want to just alert you. We'll be sharing out more information about this shortly, but we are actually closing Flatiron Park during the overseeding period because we've had so many other challenges there. We really feel like keeping folks off the grass. We are gearing up that park for major event season. And once we open back up, we start the ground running with events immediately in November. And so that grass, we want it to be ready for all of those events. We'll be doing a little bit of spruce up and cleanups in the restrooms. Our splash pad, this will be year 6, and so we're doing some major maintenance to that. We do regular PM maintenance, but it'll give us a good chance while things are closed down to really take a good look at that. And then Josh Underwood, our artist, kicking off with Make a Difference Day this weekend. He's doing the next, basically the 3rd phase of the Flatiron Wall mural. And so this will be a time when he can be in there without a lot of the other stuff that's going on. So during overseating time, you will see a fence going up. We are making it so that it is completely blocked off during this period of time. And I think it'll also give us a little bit of a break down there for a little bit, so.
Did Josh has he done that whole wall?
Yes. And then he did what was across the street at TPG, which is kind of what got us thinking about doing our wall. And so, used to work for us, was one of our wonderful staff. He's with the City of Mesa now doing amazing things in their adaptive rec program, but he's been awesome on that wall. So that's overseeding for those. The dog park is not going to be overseeded this year. It will be shut down for 2 weeks just for some maintenance on the grass. So we're not going to do regular routine maintenance, regular routine overseeding. Instead, we'll just do a 2-week shutdown instead of the normal 4 weeks. 2 weeks to do aerating and do some things to get that grass ready for that next round. So at the same time, we're hoping that some more of our seeding is coming in. That's the plan, we'll see. And we're also adding a little bit more ADA accessible entranceway things at that same time. So that will help, that is a little bit temporary while we work on some more permanent solutions there. At the dog park, we had so much erosion during that first year and during that heavy rain that we got last fall that it's really eroded a lot of that grass right at our entryway. And so then that makes it so that individuals that are coming out of that area, it's really hard for somebody in a wheelchair or an electric wheelchair to get over that little lip. So we're gonna be putting in kind of a temporary ramp there, and then our contractor ultimately, either this spring or maybe this summer, will end up doing something a little bit more permanent there that can get people to some other areas of the park. So that's overseeding. Make a Difference Day is this Saturday, and if you have ever, I know several of you have done that event before, but the Community Development Corporation, they pick this day, the one day to come, and they have several projects, and they invite all of the public, reach out to a lot of volunteer groups. They will have anywhere from 100 to 200 volunteers at several sites, and we're always fortunate to be chosen as some of the sites that they work on. So they'll be at Flatiron, helping with the mural. So our Youth Advisory Council will be helping to paint the mural. They will be doing some cleanup at Flatiron and in the wash area. They'll be at the focal point. We will be transitioning our flowers again. We had a really hard summer for our flowers this year, but we'll still have some that people can come and take home. They transplant really well. And we will be taking out all of those beds so that the guys will be ready to plant flowers come next week or the week after that once our flowers come in. They'll do some other sprucing up at Focal Point. And then at Silly Mountain, they'll be doing a lot of work in the Botanical Walk. So those are 3 projects that they do with us. And then they are also at several neighborhoods where they're doing a lot of different cleanup projects. On the city's website, you can find out more about that, but they are checking in behind the focal point like they have every year, or most years, between 7 and 7:30, and then they'll kick off with their photo and then send people off to all of their locations. So if you're interested, or any of your family or friends are interested, they'll be down at those various sites between 8 and 10:30 or so is when people dwindle away, but 7:30 is check-in time with CDC. And then I know Jamie will talk more about programs, but for parks right now, so the routine stuff continues, but this is now also a really busy time for them as they prep. They're a huge critical source for a lot of our events. They're out prepping everything right now. It'll take a couple of weeks to prep everything for the mud run that's coming up in October, getting all of our heavy equipment out there for that, getting things ready. They've been working closely with Riley and Jamie and all the rest of the coordinators on Halloween event and all the different things that are coming. And once, as you'll hear from Jamie, once we hit October, it's every weekend, every single for a while. So we're excited about all that. And that wraps up my parks report.
Thank you very much, Liz. Jamie, presentation, discussion, and update on upcoming events and activities.
Good evening, Parks and Rec Commission, and happy fall, my favorite time of year.
This month, my report will be short, as I have Elliott Anuta coming up after me, Recreation Coordinator, overseeing aquatics, outdoor recreation, and lots of other fun talents that he has. He'll give a brief overview of our aquatic season. For the fall, though, our adult pickleball league and our golf league is already full. Our youth flag football will start with clinics the end of October. Mad Science was hosted on September 23rd, and we had 4 different volunteer groups, including the Arizona Science Center, PD Explorers, East Valley Astronomy, and we also had a couple who attends the Multi-Gen Center came out and volunteered their time to teach Morse code. We think cursive is out of date. I could only imagine if we had to save ourselves using Morse code. Unfortunately, the city manager's office claimed victory in our exploding watermelons contest. I mean, fortunate for them, unfortunate for us, because that meant Parks and Rec lost. But we did have about 500 attendees to this event, so we're super excited for that, even a little bit more than last year. We almost reached 500 last year. This year, we're pretty sure we got there. I think we're at 498, so we're going to go with 500. Our Youth Advisory Council presented to our council, just doing a little recap of what they plan to be doing and who they are and kind of what their purpose is. So we're excited to have a fun year with them. Our senior programming continues. Chair volleyball continues to be very favorite, but we are starting to get into crafting. We're having some cooking demonstrations, and I believe we're having our big bingo. So we come back and they do a bingo that involves other centers, and that's done by Televita. So we have a lot coming up this month, so I put up the flyer for you guys. Every single weekend there is something going on. Sometimes we have more than one thing going on, hence why it is my favorite time of year. And like Liz said, September, we're all kind of catching our breath. We still continue. We have some big events, but it really is prepping and getting ready for what the fall brings to us. You're welcome to come. We always need volunteers once we start these big events, and we would love to have you out there. But by all means, you guys have a life outside of Parks and Rec, unlike some of us. But there is always homework. So liking our Facebook, sharing our Facebook events, talking to people when they see you, accepting their gratitude and being appreciative of that they've used our center, that is your homework. So those little things, those mean the world to us, so we appreciate that. If you guys don't have any questions for me, I'm going to introduce you to Elliott, who's next on the agenda. So, and if you would like to volunteer for any of these, please just email me directly. I'll put you in contact with the coordinator, and we will definitely give you something to do for us.
Jamie, is there a Halloween coordinator special for that event?
So Jared is our Halloween, so he's our big special event coordinator, and that will be Jared. But we have you down for the cemetery.
It'll be the graveyard of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
I've got plans for that.
So, and for those of you coming to Halloween, just remember that they are doing a bag check. So if you don't need to bring anything with you, that will get you through the line faster. But if you do, if you have a clear bag, or just make it really easy, like don't bring the Mary Poppins bag. So just kind of a reminder. So any other questions? All right, at this time, I'd like to introduce you to Elliott. So if you guys remember, Elliott was a rec assistant who was assistant to Jill Ruat, and then this was his first summer as a coordinator overseeing the pool. And I don't know if it was Jill's amazing leadership, I'm sure it was part of that, but Elliott has done a fantastic job taking our pool really out of the COVID days, bringing it back to life, the programming that happened down at the pool, the lifeguards and the morale that was down there. I can't attest to how much Elliott brings to the team. And Felicia Madrid, one of our regulars, when she found out that Elliott got the job, she goes, I can't say enough things about him. I'm so happy that he has it. He's just AJ everything. And being that Elliott didn't grow up and lived and breathed AJ, that was the biggest compliment that I could have received from a customer. So with all of that, Elliott's going to just give a quick recap on our summer.
No
At the
pressure.
pool.
No pressure. You got this.
Nice tan, Elliott.
Right? Like Jamie said, my name is Elliott. I'm the Recreation Coordinator for Outdoor Programs and Aquatics. So this season was a lot more exciting than previous seasons because we were able to expand it. So the biggest thing I do want to talk about is our open swim. This season, we were able to open 6 out of the 7 days of the week, giving Monday our rest day. During that time, in front of you guys, you can see some of our statistics on what admissions looked like for our aquatic center. We did a total of 16,594, but one statistic that I do want to point out to you is our free youth days. So this summer, we made sure that we took away any barrier we could to youth accessing our aquatic center, one of that being a financial need. On Wednesdays, all youth were free, regardless if they lived in Apache Junction or somewhere else. Wow. And then when we opened to just weekends, we made Friday evenings free for all youth, regardless of where they live. Great. So that was really exciting. And the bigger exciting part was that we had almost 2,000 youth take advantage of that opportunity. So we're very happy about that. Next was our swim lessons. So the core of any aquatic center in the Valley is to educate the youth and parents on water safety. So this season, we were able to offer 5 regular swim sessions. A regular swim session is Monday through Thursday for 2 weeks straight. And then we were also able to offer Saturday swim lessons. We did do Saturday swim lessons because most of our aquatic staff goes back to school, and those Saturday swim lessons allows them to continue to work while they're in school. During those classes, we were at capacity, which is very exciting to see. And on top of that, we were able to offer free swim lessons for any child that lives within the Apache Junction Unified School District, regardless of financial need. So we do contribute that to the fact that we were able to fill all of our swim lessons. Every single swim lesson except for session 5 did have wait lists in the entire swim lesson. So we are seeing community need for it. So we are always constantly looking at how we can improve our availability to our community for swim lessons. Next, we have our special interest aquatic programs. So those are for all ages. So water aerobics and water stretch and tone are primarily geared towards our senior population, but all people participate in them. So we do have people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, all the way up to their 80s that participate in that. Water Warriors was a new class this year. It was our September water aerobics and water stretch and tone combined class. That did hit our capacity, which we always like to see, and we did get really good feedback back from our Water Warriors program. Lap swim does happen for us in the mornings before we open for swim lessons, and we did have 57 people participate in that. And last is our read and rec poolside, which we offered 3 times throughout the summer. This was available for children 5 and under. It's a partnership with the library, and that is free for any community member to sign up for as long as they have that child below the age of 5. Next, we had special events. This summer, we were able to offer 8 special events. And the big one that I do want to talk about is our last splash. That was a new special event that we did. It happened during Labor Day, and that was big because we have not been able to keep the Aquatic Center open till Labor Day for over 10 years. So being able to do that and then kind of celebrate in that was a very exciting thing. And all of our other special events this year made plenty of memories for the rest of their families. Last, I do want to talk about staffing. I'm very proud to say that we had 51 staff on this year. As a comparison, last year we had 35. So that is huge for us. Of that, you can see the breakdown of 1 rec assistant who was also our pool manager, 2 assistant managers, 3 head lifeguards, 22 swim instructors. As a comparison, last year we had 8. So it was huge for us to be able to cross-train a lot of our lifeguards as swim instructors, and then we just had 23 who were just dedicated lifeguards, but of that, 20 were also cross-trained as swim instructors.
Nice.
So we had a great turnout as far as employment this summer, and it seems like they all had a great time. And I was very happy to be able to be part of that. And then my final is always giving thanks where thanks is due. As Jamie said, this is my first year as the aquatics coordinator for the city, and the people that are here tonight had a huge impact on that through a lot of their mentorship and a lot of other things that they do on the back end for that. A big shout out that I do want to give is to the recreation assistant of aquatics, which is Julia Feraldi. She has been at the pool for about 10 years now, on and off as a volunteer, a lifeguard, a swim instructor, a head lifeguard, and a pool manager. And now she is the recreation assistant for aquatics. She was invaluable in the history that she was able to give and help me through the summer. So,
And she's actually at the pool now,
Yes.
or she would have been here tonight.
Well, Elliot, it sounds like you've made quite a splash.
I do have a couple questions for you.
yeah.
Because I have to admit, I haven't been to the pool at quite a while. So for the drop-ins, how do you know for the youth? Because you said that they were like for free on Wednesdays. Does it make a difference if they're residents, non-residents?
It does not. We use a borderless system for a lot of our entries. So our goal is to give access to all that want to come. So we don't really track those unless they're on scholarship.
Okay. And then my other question is Gloria the only water instructor?
Gloria is currently our only water instructor that does teach. Last year, we did have another individual that taught a Saturday class, but she did pursue other opportunities, so we were unable to get her back this summer, but hopefully next summer we'll be able to recruit and add some new aquatic special events or special interests
I was
to
just
the
curious because those are
repertoire.
pretty popular. I think those were great
Yes.
numbers for just one instructor. So
Yes.
when I see her, shout out to Gloria. All right.
I did the July session of the stretching and
yeah?
toning. Oh, yeah, Gloria is amazing.
She's high
good.
energy.
Oh, totally.
On last splash, what kind of activities did you do for that?
So for that, we brought out a lot of new things that we haven't done before. So we added a volleyball court that we were able to put in the pool. So the kids could play volleyball in the water. We also have an inflatable basketball hoop that was brought out so the kids could play that. We added spike ball. We had a whole bunch of different contests for youth and adults to be able to participate in. So it was very similar to our 4th of July event as far as the different activities that we have throughout the day. But it was that one last time for the families to be able to enjoy, especially because at that time it was still like 115 degrees. And that was a nice cool off for all of them.
Great job, you guys.
Yeah,
Thank you.
very nice.
And I definitely would just like to echo Jamie. We're so excited about Elliott, taking over the aquatics division. Definitely seen a huge change and difference and just bringing a great energy. Jill was fantastic. Elliott has just taken it again to another level, and we're super happy about that. And I just want to point out that even though tonight is dedicated to a recap of the summer, now he starts the second part of his hat, which is outdoor recreation. So in AJ Parks and Rec, we tend to have multiple hats, and so he's aquatics coordinator, and then in the not so much off season, because they do a lot for aquatics in the off season, but he'll be champion all of our outdoor recreation stuff.
Nice.
All right, thank you, Elliot.
Thank you.
And Elliott is closing out the pool season with a pumpkin plunge, so we are still programming at the pool, and if he had it his way, he'd be doing a polar plunge in December. But I said, we need to hold, let's get you, back on land for a little bit, so. Thank you, Elliott.
Thank you.
Okay, next is the update on the purchase of the 20-acre Rodeo Event Center property from Bureau of Land Management and discussion on the next steps to update the 2006 master plan.
We just wanted to quickly, oops, I did it too far. Just do a couple of quick reminders. You guys, we've been talking about this for many months to come, and as you know, the purchase went through this summer. We're finally going to have a chance to do our big celebration of that. We didn't really feel like doing a big celebration with people in 115 or 120 degree weather out at the dirt rodeo grounds.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we kind of waited to see when it could cool off a little bit and we could get BLM out to help us celebrate. But just as a quick reminder, the rodeo grounds property is just the 20 acres that are in this little rectangle right here. The other property all around it is Prospector Park, and that's a whole separate lease that we only had the opportunity to purchase. You can't break up the lease, or at least if you did, it's a whole lot more time. And it took us 3 to 4 years to get this part purchased. So keep in mind that this is the planning area that we'll be talking about. As we've discussed before, that doesn't mean that we can't, so the parking is all out here. Parking is part of the plan of development for Prospector Park lease, so BLM has told us that we can absolutely use it for rodeo grounds parking and things like that, as long as we don't bring in money or we don't charge for parking. And if we do, that money has to go back into the Prospector Park lease, which shouldn't be any kind of a problem because we put a lot of money into Prospector Park.
Liz?
Yes.
So we could have an event on the land we now own that would be outside of BLM regulations that used to be there and still use the parking for that event?
Correct. As long as we didn't let like a concessionaire, as long as we don't let a concessionaire like run parking for us or do a parking whatever, we can do whatever we want to in the Prospector Park side. I'm sorry, we can do whatever we need to within those regulations, but in the rodeo grounds, we could have a concert, we could have a money-making, whatever we wanted to do, that's our property.
And even though we have parking for that off-site, that's
Yep.
okay.
Yep,
Okay, good, good.
and we did make sure and get that in writing.
Excellent.
So just wanted to refresh your memory of where that is at. Oh, what did I do here? Give me 1 second. Really, where did I put that's what I need to do. And then we just want to share with you a little, so a couple of, I'll just leave this up so that you'll have it. All of you were invited to the Rodeo Event Center celebration. Want to just share with you kind of what are the next steps. So we purchased it immediately in July. We are able, because you already had adopted commercial fees, and all that needed to happen was that we needed to allow those commercial fees to be happening at the rodeo grounds. Previously, commercial entities couldn't rent the rodeo grounds. So now, if a business or anybody that is a for-profit entity wanted to rent the rodeo grounds, they can, and they just pay 20% more? 50% more, thank you. 20%. 50% more than a resident or a nonprofit would pay. That was what you guys established in our fee structure a couple years ago. And so immediately people can do that. But, that's not our end all. We really want to be making this an amenity that is going to attract major events, attract a lot of things that will bring new tourists and new visitors to our community, new residents. And so this event that we're going to have Friday will be a chance to celebrate. BLM representatives will come out. They'll be handing over the key to the rodeo grounds to the mayor and council. And we will have a few people will be speaking, sharing a little bit about the history of how we got there. And then we are going to have an opportunity for folks to mingle, be able to go check out the rodeo arena. Anybody who comes out we have a survey for folks. We want to hear what kind of events and activities they want to see happening. We want to, if they are current event planners or people who use the facility or want to use the facility, we want to hear what kinds of amenities that they're interested in being added to the rodeo grounds. And so we'll do a little bit of that, but that's the public information gathering process kicks off on Friday. We did not open this up into a major event for the public because we are going to serve, it is a celebration of having BLM and staff and all the folks there. We are going to have food and refreshments, light food, I will tell you, and refreshments. But we didn't really we want to be able to know who is coming, and so there is an RSVP for it. We did invite all of the major stakeholders, so everybody who plans major events there, all of their membership, all of their committees were invited. So the folks that use the rodeo grounds on a regular basis, we really wanted to track them, and then it will be open. The public can absolutely come. We just haven't made a big deal about it because we can't track numbers very well. We sent out our invite to you guys, so I hope that most of you can make it, if not all of you. We will have a nice little commemorative gift at the event, and super excited of everybody that's been involved in making this a reality. So, like I said, Friday will kick off kind of our public information gathering. We did hire J2 Engineering and Design, who did the dog park. They've done a lot of our facilities. They did the original master plan that was done in 2006. And so they'll be doing, we just hired them to do the update to the master plan. So they'll take into consideration the part that we own, what we can and can't do. But they will be working with staff to work on design, and then they will also be conducting stakeholder meetings for us with a lot of our current event planners and future folks that might be doing different types of events out there. So October and November, they'll be doing a lot of information gathering. Like I said, we will have a stakeholder meeting with all the Lost Dutchman Days Committee folks and SHA, Mounted Rangers, our East Valley Archers who are out there. So all the entities that currently utilize the rodeo grounds will be a part of that. And then if there are other major players in the community, you know, we'll be asking council who do they want to have as a representative onto that team. And then we'll be bringing those ideas back to you guys to get your feedback throughout. They'll do a couple of different versions of just rough draft conceptual design of where things could go based on what individuals are asking for. And then that will get presented to council sometime in probably January, February. Our hope is that we will have a good idea of what the interests are and what can fit there and what those costs are. So part of J2's scope is to provide us with some very early level estimating. So that way we'll be prepared at budget time to be able to say, you know, next year this is how much we need, the year after that, and so on. Our direction from council is that their expectation is that this facility is going to attract lots of events, concerts. You know, we're talking about potentially weddings and all kinds of different things that can happen there. But those things cost money, and the facility, while it is wonderful for what it is used for right now, it is by no means ready to host a massive concert or does not have all the amenities that they need. For example, their power only goes to the edge of the arena, so vendor booths don't have any kind of power. So basically the restrooms in the arena are the general area where where we have any kind of power. There's no lighting except for at the arena, not even in parking. We bring out portable lights for some of our major events. So there's a lot of infrastructure improvements that have to happen. But we do anticipate that facility will have some full-time staff that are hired early on in the planning phases. So more than likely, and these are not final, but we put in kind of a lump amount of money into the budget this year to be looking at what kind of parks maintenance types of support we need, and then probably some type of a facility manager or somebody that's going to be helping with a lot of this sponsorship building, really getting those funds so that we can be attracting events and activities so that we can bring in the revenues that we'd like to. We anticipate that there's going to be more and more events already just because more people can rent it as is. And we've already seen that. We had 2 junior bull riding events this summer. But we're getting lots of requests. We're getting a lot of folks that are asking about it. And Riley handles all of our major events and outside groups that do major events as well as our facility rentals. And so we're just gearing up for that and knowing that our park maintenance staff, we haven't grown in that area yet. So that'll be something that we'll be working on over this next year.
So will there be some dates that are blocked out, like for Lost Dutchman Days and?
Always. So yeah, I think there's a little bit of a concern out there that somehow by purchasing it and us doing all these other, trying to attract other events and things, that the ones that we already do are, not going to have priority or going to fade away, and they won't. They are ongoing. All of our civic events will be ongoing, and those are all pretty set.
And that includes Ben Johnson Days and all of those.
Ben Johnson Days, the Early Day Engine Tractor Show. What else?
Lost Dutchman Days, Lost Dutchman Marathon.
And then our events, Mud Run, and, you know, I would imagine the Ranch Rodeo and some of those other smaller ones that it really will be at some point. So our major city-sponsored events, the civic events that Riley just shared, those will be in the calendar, you know, permanently. And they'll have nonprofit, you know, well, those ones don't have any fees at all because they are already sponsored by us. But it shouldn't affect any of that type of thing. Like I said, we're wanting them to be weighing in on what they need to make it even better for their events. Nothing else?
Great job getting that done.
Yeah, we're really proud of all there's a lot of council involvement in getting a lot of different folks to the table to even have these conversations. It's definitely been a process, so we're super happy for it to be finally in our hands.
Culmination of a lot of teamwork.
Yep, absolutely.
Thanks, Liz. Update on the PNR Commission on the Superstition Vistas.
One moment. And so I put in your packet just a little bit of it's very similar to our present. You've seen this before. I just want to, again, refresh your memory on a couple of things. So as a quick reminder, the Superstition Vistas area, you have a handout of this so that you have it. Folks are always asking us about all of this. What did we buy? You know, where is this at? So down here in this square, the 4 square miles here is what was the auction, and everything else is retained. All of this is state land or state trust land. And remember that the city annexed down to this point right here. In that area, remember that D.R. Horton is Ironwood to Meridian, and Brookfield is Ironwood to Idaho. And on the D.R. Horton side right now, this was kind of the plan of development that was shared long ago. All of these circles kind of just represent some of their land planning. So where there's going to be community parks and things like that, currently, there is no plan on the D.R. Horton side to have a public community park until the final phases, which is in this area right up here. They do have a bigger park down here, but it's not a public park. It's part of their system. And it's in the same location that a police substation, a future library branch, all of those things are kind of co-located in that area, and then a park will be a part of that. So that's on the D.R. Horton side. The site that we're really excited about and that you all have been hearing about and we've been talking about for several months is the Brookfield side. So Blossom Rock, they have a little bit different approach. They have a lot of little tiny pocket parks, and then they focus a lot of their efforts on these bigger regional parks that are ones in the South, Central, and then the North District. Right now, they are focused on building this one. And again, we've shared this in the past, but I just want to, so that you get an idea of the location. We haven't seen this in a little while. So Ironwood, and then, oh shoot, I'm going to say it wrong. Ray? Is that what that looks like there? Yes. That's where all of this main entrance is. This little spine road right here is Blossom Rock Trail. So that is an intermediate, I guess I'll say, roadway that has an entire linear park along one side of it, where not only will it be paths for people to walk on and connect to all of their other inner workings of their trails, but it will have other amenities. So an entire basketball court is on one side of here, down in the retention area. There's play structures and all kinds of things along this side of the road. And then they have another linear park here on Ironwood. Again, just a path along the side of the road. Darn it. Okay, there we go. So this is the park. It's called Painted Sky Park is the new name. And so then we have Painted Sky Park that they're building right now. Ironwood Linear Park. I don't know what the actual name is going to be called. I'm hoping like Ironwood Path or not linear. It's a big mouthful. So they're working on that right now. Linear Park is really more of a type of park that it is. And then this one is called Ridgeline Linear Park right now that's going to be right in this area.
The pocket parks, what's going to be in the pocket parks?
A whole variety of things. So if you were to drive through Eastmark, you'd get a really good, so Eastmark is in Mesa just east of these developments. But that entire development has, they want to have small, either green belt or small activity areas all throughout that are walking distance from all residential units. So it might be one little park with one playground structure in it. It might be one with a bunch of Adirondack chairs around fire pits, and so that it's like a place for people just to come and hang out. Might be an exercise bench. It might be an area with just cornhole at it, but they're all spread out through the community so that there's multiple places, and individuals in their community can visit any of them at any point in time.
And then just to confirm, this is being funded by everybody there, right? Like, everyone that lives here on the north side, we're not paying for these parks.
No, but everybody will get to take advantage of it. So the pocket
it's a
parks are
question that
technically,
gets
yep,
asked a lot.
absolutely. I think I got asked it 3 times today.
Exactly.
The pocket parks are technically HOA parks. I mean, they're parks that are private. They're for their residents. There's nobody there, though, that is probably watching or making sure people aren't in them. These 3 district parks are public, as well as the linear parks, and they are being built by the developers. They are funded, so when somebody buys a house, they will have an individual property tax on theirs for the next however many years that contributes to a fund. And so there's a community facilities district that Brookfield is basically they are taking the risk, they are building all of these things, and when those homes come, then people will end up paying back that through their taxes. And then the Community Facilities District manages all of that, makes sure that everything is going the way that it needs to. So we aren't paying for them to be built, but we will be paying for them to be maintained. So we have a maintenance agreement with Brookfield and with the Cohere or whoever ends up coming in as the property management company. We will pay a proportionate share for all the public facilities as far as maintenance goes. And that price was determined a while back ago of what the max could be. And then they'll be paying a portion of that as well. So good question. And then just as a reminder, in your packet, you can read through this. I'm not going to go over all of it, but they do have a trails master plan of some of the major trails, and then all their paths kind of connect within the property. So this is for the whole 4 square miles. This just gives you an idea of some of the character of things, but there is grass as well. There's a lot of grassy areas and different things throughout the park. Before we get into questions, I just wanted to show this one more time. So we did have an updated one, but it's really not that different, to be honest. So I'm just going to show this again so we get it. This is an overview. The lake is this big area right here, so we're super excited about that. And our spine trail is kind of coming along right into here, so there will be this linear park on the other side that has all kinds of paths that go through it, and then some of that retention is over here on this side as well. But this is really what it looks like still right now. There is a lot of, so they're got a lot of permits going right now for a ton of the Ramada structures and a whole bunch of other things. They are planning to be open sometime in April.
Wow.
It seems crazy to me, but that would happen that fast. But they're going gangbusters over there. Have a lot of invested in this. So here's Blossom Rock Trail, and so on the one side you can kind of see a little path. That is kind of where the linear trail goes. I was concerned because I thought that it was closer to the road, but there's plenty of, in any of the places where there's amenities and it's not just a path, there's plenty of room.
And is that horse accessible, or is that going to be?
More than likely not.
Bike and,
There is a major path that connects up with the CAP trail and other places that have both paths in there, but I don't believe that part is. To get to this area, with horses, it's not really designed for that. We have our whole multi-use purpose trail system. The CAP trail will be multi-purpose. So there's a lot of other things, but I don't know how accessible that'll be for them. Any questions? And then last time we shared blossomrock.com is their website. I would encourage all of you just to kind of, they put a lot of updates there. That's a great place to visit and see what's going on and what's happening. April is the time that they are hoping to be opening up their model home. They want everything to be a grand opening at that point in time to the best of their ability. There's also a dog park in that area. It's similar in size to our current dog park, so it's not a real huge one. But we're excited to see what that takes shape in, and we have shared a lot of some of the lessons learned in ours. So that'll be good. And that concludes on that.
Anybody have any questions? No questions. All right. Presentation, new business. Presentation and discussion on the works of the Public Arts Commission and upcoming art in parks and public spaces.
All right, and so this one was, oops, there's usually a little place here. It'll be fine. So this was a request of Commissioner Moore that had asked when we were looking at agenda items last month, that was just curious about whether or not the possibility of like the electric stations or the SRP stations having art wraps on all of those. And so while that's not part of Parks and Rec's purview, I thought it would be a good chance just to bring to you guys kind of what Public Art Commission has been talking about. And so it's not anything that Parks and Recreation is doing, but wanted just to share with you what Public Art Commission has been discussing about art. They did talk about those a little bit, and I'll share with you a little bit of what they have. And then I did talk with Rudy Esquivius, the Development Services Director who manages the Public Art Commission, and just where they're at in what they're looking at doing. So right now, they had a workshop back in April, and so I'm just going to share with you a few of their slides of the things that kind of made it forward or that they were discussing. They did talk a lot about some sidewalk art that was really kind of cool if you have a real walkable downtown area. But as they talked about a whole bunch of different ideas, but the one that they chose to focus on after in the retreat, they kind of looked at all ideas, and then at their September 11th meeting, they talked about focusing what they want to do. So there's always been a plan that after Dutchman Dog Park, and they finished the Playful Pups art installation, which has been received amazingly. They kicked around the roundabout is another big art project. That there's other Silly Mountain, they'd love to have something out there that was really meaningful. The Veterans Memorial Park would be a great place for some other art installations. I think what they decided though is that those are some really big projects that they can certainly be looking at and looking into, but in the meantime, and they take a while. So the Playful Pups from start to finish was like 18 months to 2 years. It was their first one, so that's partly why, because it was their first attempt at it. And so they wanted to really focus on temporary artwork that could be easily installed quickly and maybe rotates a little bit more. And so a couple of the things that they, and you can look through that, but they talked a lot about having some vinyl murals on civic buildings. These are some of the ones that are at down in Tempe at their library and community center. They've also they shared about some of the vinyl wraps that can be put on windows that you can actually still see through. So again, they serve similarly to that kind of the tinting on a window, but it's artwork. And we have a lot of space at the Multi-Gen Center and the library for a lot of that. So here's a couple of other samples. Doing just another, a big mural on some of the big wall space that we have. So this is actually a vinyl wrap. So then they would adhere this to it, and then it can be taken, but it's very heavy duty. It's like a car wrap. It's super resilient, withstands a lot of weather, but then it can also be power washed. I mean, it's more intensive than that, but technically, like, it can be washed off or taken off and replaced with something else. They did talk about signal box art, and so as some options that could be around the city. And so these are some of the ones that they had shared at their retreat. So while those are really cool, and I think that they are great ideas, I know we had some interest on council for doing those as well. those aren't something that they are taking on just yet. They're going to continue researching that, looking into, who do you have to get permission from? We obviously don't own any of those, but lots of cities do it. So they'll continue to research that. But in the meantime, they've met with our facility manager at the Multi-Gen Center, Larry Binion, and the library staffing and myself to talk about what could they do on our big buildings. Because we have so many great windows, we have some good open space on our buildings, and talking a little bit about what we're open to and, what we're willing to take a chance on and not have it, do something permanent to our facility. But I think we've really leaned towards, we really like the idea of the window treatments. We have some really big windows. They're going to do a lot of research for us, though, on what does that really mean? Like, how does that affect our lobbies? How does it affect our classrooms? Are we not able to have enough natural light in there anymore? All those questions that we might have. The banners. So I've actually visited this facility recently, and they don't look like this anymore. They look kind of, curled off at the edges and things like that. So we would just be really, curious to find out how to make sure that it's going to stay looking nice and how often it'll get rotated. A vinyl wrap on a wall is amazing to me because it's something that goes up in a day or 2 days and is really impactful right away. I think they're going to be doing something similar to this at the library in one of their sections. So that's where they're at on that.
I'd be curious about the vinyl wraps on the windows. You got it on whatever side the sun comes. Is there like a certain amount of time before the sun is going to like heat it onto the window and you can't get it off?
Yeah, no, this stuff is really designed for that very purpose. So it's on a lot of commercial sites. And so again, think about it as it's a commercial application. It's going to be something that is designed, and it would be a call for artists. Not just anybody could do it. They'd have to be able to show their history and all that kind of stuff. A lot of people were concerned about the dog art of, how is the paint going to last and how is this, the artists that we work with lots of places, and so they know what they're doing. Those are definitely things. We have an amazing consultant that works with the Public Art Commission that has a lot of experience in multiple cities. And she works pretty much solely with municipalities on their public art programs. And then we have a lot of great artists on our commission that are very knowledgeable. What I would encourage you to do, their next meeting is coming up next Monday night. They meet earlier than us. I want to say they meet at 5. It might be 5:30. But they will be discussing their next steps and what they're doing. We really don't weigh in other than what we're willing to do at our facilities and things like that, because they are an entity just like yourselves where, they have kind of the power over that type of thing. But if you have questions or interests, I would really encourage you to reach out or go and visit. Or one of these years, it's probably too late now, but you could always, as long as you don't not apply for us, you could also apply to be on the Public Art Commission. They don't meet quite as often as we do, but it's a great group of people that have done a lot of good work. So that's
Liz, we have those wraps at the chamber, on the door, on the windows.
nice.
And, there's plenty of light that comes
Oh,
in.
very
So,
nice. Yeah, I think they're designed to have a kind of a filter of what comes through.
Right.
So awesome.
You can see out, but they can't really see in the
Right.
building.
Yeah, that's neat. And then if it's artistic and it's not just junk, that's
Right,
kind of a
right.
cool thing.
Also, it'd be great to do some of maybe the box art, historical figures,
Share that with the
And-
Public
and-
Art Commission, yeah.
historical figures, but
Monday.
then also description on who the person is.
Yeah.
And why it's there.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you, Liz. Call to the public? I guess not tonight. Call for future agenda items. Anybody down this way? To my left? No. Okay. To my right? Could we get an update on the Tree City thing?
Yes, we will definitely do that. Additionally, we will likely have new candidates being sworn in at the November meeting. So October are the interviews at one of the council meetings. I think it's a work session night. And then
17th.
the 16th and 17th. So any of you that have applications in, don't forget, October 16th work session is when interviews happen, and then they make their selections on Tuesday, October 17th. and then we'll know who our commissioners are. We will also we have a vacant spot right now, so excited to get another person in for that. And then plan on that we'll have that meeting to chat and to update everybody. And then December, we will do our election, so just be thinking about that. I can't believe it's already that time of year. I feel like we just did it.
Yeah, is anybody here up for reappointment? Who's up this time?
For here.
I think I was.
For here?
I think you, yeah. I think-
DL and Judy.
You guys
Think-
did apply, I hope?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Before, well, let's do the selection of meeting times, dates, times, locations, and purposes. I'll entertain a motion to that effect.
I move that the Parks and Recreation Commission hold a regular meeting on November 1st, 2023, at 6 PM in the City Council chambers located at 300 East Superstition Boulevard.
Second, please.
Second that.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Judy Borey,
Yes.
Commissioner Terrell Moore,
Yes.
Vice Chair Heather Moeller,
Yes.
Commissioner DeL Kyne,
Yes.
Commissioner Cheryl Bigelow,
Yes.
Chairman Frank Shanebeck.
Yes. Before we adjourn, I want to thank Heather for the great job she did a month ago. Stepped in without any problems. I did make out a list of things that I thought you could have done better. So with that in mind, it's 7:02 and we are adjourned.